So I was doing a video yesterday, or the day before, and I didn't get to the main point that I was trying to make. And the main point was that the internet has brainwashed people into even whenever they think that they don't believe this, they do. Because for whatever reason, man, the internet is brainwashing people to believe that all carbs are the same. And carbs are what need to be regulated. When carbs from stuff like this are what our bodies want as fuel. And we disrupt the fuel, which is stuff like this. We disrupt this when we add processed foods. It's processed foods that need to be eliminated. At least acknowledged where 100% unprocessed foods are. And then work your way down. And I'm telling you, man, most people eat more than 50% of their total calories from processed foods. Doesn't matter whether what the carbs are, what the fats are, what the proteins are. I'm talking about the foods that are processed. People eat more than 50% of their calories from that. And I don't care what anyone says, because people will probably say, no, the body doesn't work this way. The body does it. No, the body, look at, if you eat processed calories, it's disrupting the absorption of the real actual food on some level. Everyone's has different genetics. Some people have better genetics than others. People who have worse genetics, it's going to even be worse. And if anybody says, if any, sciencey people, people who really have credentials, if they say that's not true, they're too cookie cutter. They're too much into whatever they're taught, and they're brainwashed, because the results are on people. You can see it in people's faces. You can see it on their skin. You can see it. People aren't getting the nutrition that is in the real food, even if it's real food, because the food is, our food now is like, it's basically just spit out. That way we can all eat. So, it's tough, man. That's why there's people that they don't absorb certain vitamins, that they could be eating foods that are high in those vitamins, and their bodies aren't absorbing them for many reasons. It could be genetic, it could be, but it also could be because the foods, just they're not as good as what they should be. Everything's kind of like this watermelon. It just didn't come from someone's garden. This came from, there's probably hundreds of thousands of watermelons that this thing was born with, right? So, when people start acknowledging, like, okay, they do this thing where they start thinking about cutting carbs and taking carbs out. And what they generally do is they think that they're going to replace these carbs, which is, even if it's bad carbs, like processed carbs, their idea is, okay, if they do eat meat, they'll add more meat, and they'll add vegetables. And adding vegetables is good for people who don't eat very many vegetables. But vegetables are for vitamins and minerals, micronutrients. That's what vegetables are for. Vegetables are not fuel. When you eat good fuel sources, and if you eliminate the processed foods, so vegetables are micronutrients. Fats, cholesterol, that's hormones. That's how you got to think of it. Protein is for getting all your amino acids, building muscle and keeping muscle that you have. If you look at it, that's very simple, right? Everyone, a child can understand that. Fuel is carb-dominant foods, like this. Fruits, number one, and you're also getting a lot of micronutrients if you eat a lot of fruits. I eat 60 to 80% of my calories for fruit. People don't necessarily have to do that, but if people ate like 40% of their calories from fruit, total calories, they're going to be going this way. Even if they ate junk as well. But still, you want to eliminate all the junk, all of it. Bread is junk. Bread is a disruptive processed calorie that will take away from the benefit that you can get from eating this. If you eat 2 pieces of bread in the morning, it will mess up things that you did when you're eating like this. And you have to look at it that way. If you don't, you slide further down. We're talking about reversing age. You're not going to reverse age eating bread. Doesn't mean you don't. I'm not saying don't eat bread. What I'm saying is bread is anti-age reversing. Does that make sense? Yes, anti-age reversing. It just is. You have to know that. Doesn't mean you eat a loaf of bread a day. Doesn't make you a bad person. It's just you're not going to be reversing your age. You're not even going to get close to it. And that's just bread. That's good bread. That's Ezekiel bread. That's sprouted breads. All processed. Not what your body wants. That's not your body will run on it, but your body doesn't want that. Your body wants fruits, potatoes, tubers, yams, and potatoes will come second, nutrition-wise, for like bang for your buck. Beans, stuff like that, you know, that's going to be third. But it's not everyone can handle, you know, their digestive system. Everyone's different in that sense, right? But I'm just talking about nutrition inside. Then you got grains, a little bit of grains, rices, not really rices, but like grains and stuff like that aren't processed. Because people hear grains and they go, oh, whole grain bread, whole grain pasta, whole grain. No, that's processed. Grains, like grains that are not processed. So it's the processed versus the unprocessed calories is where people should start. They're starting way down there. People are starting way down, and they don't need to be starting there. Start from that. And when people do all that, and they're going through these different things, and they're looking for ways to change the way they're eating because they know they're eating too much junk or whatever, they leech onto the carbs. They go, okay, I need to eliminate carbs, which is wrong. They need to switch the carbs and possibly add carbs because they're switching it to something good. So fruits, the majority, my personal beliefs is 50% of calories should come from fruits, from everybody. But people, they want to go, people should be doing 40% calories. Total calories from fruit. Wide variety, doesn't have to be one thing. Next, potatoes, then grains, and then rices. Once you get down to rice, you're not necessarily getting any nutrition in it. Let me go back to the main point I was trying to think of the other day when I was going to start all this, was the more you eat, especially with fruits, potatoes too, and yams, but especially with fruits, the more fruits you eat, the less vegetables that you actually have to eat for your micronutrients. Doesn't mean you don't eat vegetables, and you should, but the less vegetables, vegetables are not going to provide you a source of energy. Vegetables are for your micronutrients, but a lot of that is in stuff like this. It's in the fruit. So, and potatoes too. People are potassium deficient. Most people are. I would say everybody is. I'm not. But people who don't eat like this, they're potassium deficient. You eat fruits, you eat potatoes, you're going to get your potassium. You need to salt everything because you're not going to get your sodium. But you're going to get a lot of other stuff in there too that is in vegetables. So you don't have to eat all kinds of vegetables. Your body's going to be trying to. When people do that, they up their meat, they up their vegetables. They're thinking that some people might be thinking that they're doing keto. They're not doing keto. Some people might be they don't know what they're doing. They're just trying to not eat processed carbs. That's what they're trying to do, and they don't understand anything about fats and how much fat their body needs. They don't understand that they could be eating good fats and their body's going to be not using it. You only need so much fat, and that's for your hormones. Unless you're going to run on fat, but then you're going to have to know how to actually do it. People aren't in ketosis. People aren't in ketosis. They're eating too much protein to be in ketosis. There's people eating way too much meat, and the protein, they're eating too much protein to even be in ketosis. No one should even do that unless they're monitored by a doctor anyways, and they need to do it. And then the doctor isn't going to have them do it forever. They have something wrong with them that they need to do that. Just like fasting. Fasting is for when people need to fast, not for people that don't need it. And they do that too. So it's about selling to people. But and some of that stuff can possibly work if someone's really super unhealthy and then it gets them, feeling better for a little bit, but it doesn't sustain. Even doing stuff like eating a lot of vegetables and meat only, and they eliminate all the junk because they eat junk carbs. But they lump good carbs in with it. They eliminate potato, they eliminate, that stuff they need to replace with that. And they don't even need to necessarily do the whole thing they did in the beginning. They can just replace it. And then they might even find out that they even need to eat more. And you'll run on carbs. You give yourself the proper amount of fat, cholesterol for your hormones, and you get your hormones. It might take someone years to get their hormones balanced. Everyone's different. But once your hormones are balanced, you really don't even need to pay attention to the protein, like the numbers and everything, because if you eat a certain way, it's gonna just fall into place. If you eat unprocessed foods, you go, okay, for your hormones, what do you need? What do you need from an animal product? What's the best animal product? The best animal product is eggs. But if you don't want to eat eggs, you start going down below that. What do you need for your hormones? The protein will go along with it. So you don't need to pay attention to that, really. And then you just need to pay attention to, if in the beginning, to what you need and to what your body's telling you. Like, when it comes to fat, my fat comes from egg yolks. Then what I do is I throw in like nuts, avocado, that type of thing, when my body's saying, hey, I need a little more fat. So I throw in nuts, I throw in avocado. But my main fat is from the egg yolks. And it's not very much, 2 to 6 eggs a day. Not very much. And whatever's in fruit and grains, and not that much. Not that much. There's hardly any. So my fat is just what it needs to be. And nothing more. And my body runs on the fuel choices, which is the best fuel choices, which is fruits, potatoes, beans, unprocessed grains, and rices. Very simple. Very simple. And rice, nutrition-wise, rice it's not. But for a fuel choice only, white rice, it's kind of weird how that is, because white rice, nutritionally, micronutrient-wise, is nothing. It doesn't have anything in it. It's just basically a carb. But for only a fuel choice, like for fuel, white rice is superior to everything, even watermelon. So, but it's not something that you're gonna. If you had to pick, what are you gonna live off of only, and that's all you had was watermelon or white rice, you pick watermelon. You'll live longer. You'll still die because you won't get everything you need from watermelon, but you'll get a lot. You get a lot in watermelon, and all berries too. Berries, you could get a lot. You'll live longer with berries. Watermelon, I think watermelon wins though. I used to think berries And like blueberries was like my choice. If I only could have one food, and then I switched it to watermelon because I think watermelon's more nutritionally dense, and you just get more for. I think you get more. As far as if that's all you had to eat, that's it. So, anyways, it's just acknowledging it and knowing it. Doesn't mean people would have to do it, but that's the way it is. We're talking age reversing. Where's that bar at? That bar's way up there, not on the ground. So you have to acknowledge that, and you have to know it. You have to know, okay. And then the stuff that's on the internet about, I don't understand why they do that. Well, I understand because they're trying to get people to maneuver to this, but it's wrong. It's wrong. Now do they figure that they're talking to nothing but completely unhealthy people? Because that's not true. I mean, I'm talking way like their health is very bad. No, it's not true, because why would people in such bad health, they're not going to be going to people on the internet, especially young people. You know? They shouldn't be. And I know people they're not in great health, but they're not in bad enough health to have to eliminate all carbs and have to do all these different fasts and all these different things, you know. The average person, you know, they need to be eliminating processed calories, period. And understand that 0 is the best choice. And if they can't do it, doesn't make you bad, but you're go over there and don't do it. It's that simple to me, you know. They're doing these people a disservice, making them think that they can keep all that stuff in their life and become extremely healthy. No, they're not. And we're talking a little bit. 10-20% calories from processed calories it's no good. You want to be 0 ideal, but think about it. 3, 4, 5% for people that, you know, that's very, very, very low. That could be like one piece of bread. One piece of bread. I want to have one piece of bread, and I can't stand. But then if you're like that, you're gonna fall off the wagon, and then you're gonna go to 50, 75% processed foods. You have to get off of them. You have to not need them. And it's very, 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 very much lying in the sand in one way or the other. And, you know, it's the way it is. It's the way it is. It's not going to change just because we want to make up all these different ways to trick ourselves. It's still going to be there. So, anyways, I will talk to you later.